Welcome to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast, where we equipped you to more effectively lead your seat at any employer, business, or industry in which you choose to play. Each week, we help you sharpen your leadership acumen by cracking open the playbooks of dynamic leaders who are doing big things in their professional endeavors. And now your host, leadership tactics and organizational development expert, Karen Farrell-Rhodes.
Hey there, superstars. This is Karen, and welcome to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast. And thanks for joining another episode designed to help you better to lead at the top of your game. You know, I had the pleasure of attending the Women in Technology Awards here in Atlanta this weekend in support of a very dear friend who was up for an executive award. And while I am happy to say that my friend won, I must admit that I was captivated by all the stories of the nominees and their challenges that they had to overcome in their various professions. You know, it's no secret that being a female executive in STEM has its share of challenges. And if you add to it the complexity that occurs when your company's key client decision makers are in male-dominated positions in like the military and commercial enterprises, wow, that is such a challenge for executives, especially women executives, to overcome. However, my guest on today's show did not let these obstacles stop her from running a certified, woman-owned cybersecurity firm recognized 5 years straight by Inc. 5000 as one of our country's fastest growing small businesses. Tracy Gregorio is the CEO of G2 Ops, which is an IT engineering and cybersecurity company serving the U.S. Navy, government entities, and commercial enterprises. Previously, she was a software engineer for the Navy and also an analyst for a cable broadcast network. But she used her intellectual horsepower to see the important role that cybersecurity was going to play in the world, just as cybersecurity was becoming a budding industry within itself. And so on today's show, Tracy shares with us some of the leadership challenges that she and other technology executives face as they try to keep their companies and your data safe from hackers who possess ill intent. And you know, one thing that struck me was how common it is for companies to use a variety of technology platforms that may integrate with each other well performance-wise, but may not be at an A+ level security-wise. And this is very, very scary indeed. And we see a lot of these stories in today's media when things go wrong. So hope you enjoyed the episode, and be sure to stay tuned for just 2 minutes after the episode to listen to my closing segment called Karen's Take, where I share a tip on how to use insights from today's episode to further sharpen your leadership acumen. And now, enjoy the show. Hey there, superstars. This is Karen, and welcome to another episode of the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast. We have a special guest today. I'm so pleased to have on today's show Tracy Gregorio, who is the CEO of G2 Ops, which is an IT engineering and cybersecurity company serving the U.S. Navy, government, and commercial enterprises. Welcome to the podcast, Tracy.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here today.
Oh, we're so happy to have you. Being a leader of a cybersecurity company, I'm sure is very eventful, and we're going to really want to delve into that in a moment. But before we do so, if you don't mind, for as much as you feel comfortable, can you give us a sneak peek into your personal life and passions?
All right, sure. So hello, everyone, again. And I was born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia. And, that impacted my worldview, and, supporting the Navy is very near and dear to my heart. So that kind of spoke into everything that I did. But I majored in computer science. It was tough then and it's tough now.
Yes.
But it's been a really great career. And I just progressed, as a computer programmer, then a database administrator, project manager, worked for the government, a public company, just had a great opportunity to learn continuously And then 10 years ago, with my husband and another partner, we decided we wanted to break out on our own and try to bring some innovative technology to the way they manage complex systems for the Navy. That was our target and the reason that we are with G2 Ops today. So that's it in a nutshell. So everything prepared me for where I am today.
Oh, what a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure it makes total sense for you to be focusing, especially your location and the needs of the Navy. But when did you realize that your work was expanding into some of the commercial areas and other industries? Has that been just recently over the last like 5 years, or did you see an evolution over time?
Yeah, it actually has been about 5 years because of cybersecurity.
Mm,
The government and the Navy and the Air Force or whatever, they're all trying to stay ahead of cybersecurity.
yeah.
So is the private sector, the
Yes.
same challenges. So we do a lot of consulting with small and medium-sized businesses to help them improve their cyber posture.
Gotcha.
So we help them develop roadmaps.
Can you share a little bit more about that, of some of that core work? Like, what does that consulting at a high level entail? Because
Right.
I know it's a lot of detailed technical work, but at a high level, kind of what do you all do?
Well, really, any business owner, has to protect customer data, employee
Yes.
data at a minimum.
At a very minimum.
And then a lot of businesses have requirements with their customers. If you're in healthcare or you even, protect tax records, whatever.
Right.
And there's some really good basic things every company needs to do. So we'll sit down with the CEO. A lot of them don't have IT departments,
Yes.
or a lot of money to spend. And we look at where's the best investment and how can you build on it over time. So let's say you want to make some improvements over 2 or 3, 4 years because that's what their budget allows. So we'll work with them to put together a roadmap of the best things that they need to do. And it always starts with training your employees, number one.
I can imagine that because even with me, moving from corporate America to, owning my own firm, we launched in 2013. And most of our clients are like mid-sized to larger enterprise level firms. They're requiring even people that do HR and leadership to have a certain degree of data protection, things that we probably wouldn't have thought about. I'm telling my age, but 15 to 20 years ago, now we're being required to go through, checks and be authenticate that we're, doing things the right way based on, and your contract depends upon that. So I'm sure that's why also you all are getting a ton of business from companies and the government on doubling down on that. And I'm just curious, how has the whole acceleration with AI impacted, your business or industry?
Well, for us, we're really looking at how can we bring it in to be more efficient, more competitive, drive down our costs
Sure.
because we have to be familiar with it. But, AI can be broached by a cybersecurity criminal also. So you have to verify the data you're getting back from the AI. But it's really looking at how can it improve our business and what we're delivering to our clients. That's where we're at right now
Gotcha.
with AI.
And who's your core target audience that your company focuses on?
For the majority of our work, it's the Navy and it's groups that are managing large, complex systems, say for communication or even weapon systems on a ship. They're built by many different contractors. And when those systems come together, there's a lot of complexity, information shared in between. And we help them manage that complexity and understand, oh, if I upgrade over here, how does it affect this other piece of the system from a cyber perspective? That's an easy example. We build the digital twin of their systems.
Gotcha. That makes a ton of sense. But I would imagine, I mean, me having come from the tech world, technology changes at a nanosecond. So
Oh,
even small businesses, I know you create a strategic plan for them, but I can imagine where their CEOs or CTOs are needing to excel. They might start out with strategy, but find that they need to make quicker investments in their cybersecurity plans, because if they can't wait 3 years, right, to have a good implementation, things change so quickly. They need to kind of take baby steps as quick as they can afford it. Or am I wrong?
No, that's
Yeah.
true. So
Yeah.
it's training for the employees and, doing upgrades, from where you've worked before.
Yeah.
The Microsoft spend millions and millions of dollars to fix any holes or that are in the software. So use
Big
those
time.
upgrades. Let those big companies do the heavy work for you. But
Yeah.
you have to plan for all that.
Well, I'm really would love also, Tracy, for you to share a bit about your and your husband's and your partner's founder journey, if you will. How did you all start the business? And I think I read in your profile that you had a bit of help with, I don't know if it's small business administration, or you got to learn about how to do business with the federal government. But can you share a bit about your founder's journey with us?
Yes. So thank you. So, I was in, I had a great job that I loved. And my husband's like, I see a change coming with model based system engineering. This is just a methodology. Let's get in on the front end of it. And so we said, okay, we want to help make large companies deliver things faster to the government, or even the government things that are developing internally. So he's a retired submariner and really said, let's come do this. You've got the corporate experience, to be the CEO. And then our other partner, Kevin Esser, is a cybersecurity savant. I mean, he's just dedicated many years of his career in information assurance and cyber. So that was our, team. And it's hard at first. You do whatever you can, small jobs, medium jobs, and you start getting, you know, okayed by the government to do business with them. That takes a long time.
That's what I
And
hear.
yeah, and we didn't win our first contract until 3 years after we started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you sub under others by
Oh, yeah.
chance?
We
Yeah.
were, yeah, to some large companies. And like I said, consulting, anything anybody needed, because, you have to generate revenue
Yes.
to grow and
That's
invest in
right.
your company. So that was it. And then once you win one, it just, it gives you confidence. And then you just try to make improvements. But our key is hiring really, really good people.
Yeah.
So that's, we go after those people that, want to do good work, great work ethic, smart, and then they attract others.
Yeah. Like
That's
attracts like, right? Great people attract great people. Do you always have your eye out for great new talent that's out there?
always,
Always.
always. So yeah, we've got some good stories. A few people that have been with us quite a few years. One girl was finishing up her degree and was a waitress at a restaurant, and we met her and
Wow.
just, her work ethic. Another, they joke about it. She just finished grad school, had worked at Lululemon through grad school, and and I happened to be in a Lululemon one day, and I was like, oh, and she just was such a great employee.
Oh, wow.
And I just said, tell me about yourself. She said, oh, I just got my MPA from the George Washington University. And I said, we need someone. He's been with us over 6 years. So I'm always looking. And then, of course, great. We work closely with a lot of the universities too,
I can
because we want
imagine.
some of their talent coming out,
That is
right away.
that is tremendous. And then I understand you all have grown to over 150 employees now, right?
Right, right. We
Oh,
just had,
congratulations on that.
thank you.
I'm sure that growth over these years brings interesting leadership dynamics, managing, teams of individuals. So I'm curious of what are some of your top challenges right now as being an executive of G2 Ops?
Yeah, I mean, we always have to focus on growth, especially adding all these people,
Yeah.
because things happen, things change, and they're going to want to be challenged differently, get promoted. So we constantly have to be looking at our pipeline.
Yeah.
So that's always a big investment. And then hiring, it's so funny. Our team loves coming in the office. We're in Arlington, Virginia Beach, and San Diego, and our offices are bustling. And we're looking at space challenges. A lot
Really?
of that now, a lot of their offices are still empty, but like working together and collaborating. So that, and then of course it's always the cash flow on the business side,
Yeah.
and the banking. So it's a mix, and then keeping up with technology, all the time.
And how do you all kind of keep your knowledge sharp about some of the new trends? I mean, how do you gather it from multiple places? Do you keep your ear to the street? Do you follow various research reports? How do you all stay on top of your area in tech?
We reinvest a lot into the staff and your certifications, credentials. We give education credit, and I think that's what a lot of people like coming here because it's competitive. But it helps us too when we're bidding on new work.
Right.
If someone's got, oh, now they have all these certifications in cloud, Microsoft Azure or AWS, whatever. And then, of course, all the cybersecurity certifications and staying on top. So that's been our best investment is just plow back into the employees. And we have over 95% retention.
Oh
And
my gosh, Tracy, what is the answer to the secret sauce for that? That's what I need to know.
I think it's because they can grow and learn here and, be empowered. So, but we celebrate every month. We go over what certifications people got. And some
Very
of them
nice.
they do on their own, but we publish it every month.
And
So,
recognize them for it.
yes.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
And recognition goes a long way because most employees just want to be appreciated for their knowledge or contributions and things that they've done. So, gosh, if you all do that every month, no wonder you all have a great environment there. Well, one thing that, especially being in tech, we as women hate to have that question, what's it like to be a woman in tech? Because we just want to be appreciated for
Right.
our work. But since you are an executive and a leader in your own business, I'm just curious from the contracting side or the business side, what is it like to be, at the top and be in those intense client negotiations in a male dominated field such as cybersecurity?
So it's just something you have to get used to. I mean,
Yeah.
right out of school, I went to work in defense work. So it was always male dominated. And I never served in the military. So that's intimidating.
On
You
top of
can't
that,
relate, necessarily. But I think it's just, if you're good at your job, they don't care.
they
No,
shouldn't, not at all. They should not even think about gender. It's
no.
about getting it done, right?
I never created any barriers. I was never told there was going to be any. I never put any roadblocks in, so I didn't have any to kick down.
Yeah.
So, but it still is very male dominated. Most of our customers are male. I personally have never worked for a female, and but anyway, but we have to continue to encourage each other because this country needs male and females in STEM.
Absolutely.
We have a shortage.
A dire shortage.
Mhm.
And I'd spoken at a conference, Gallup, at their headquarters in DC late last year. And I was talking to them about trends that I was seeing in the future of work. And I was, speaking, and that was one of the things that we talked about were that people were moving away from the kids were moving away from degrees, and we're really focusing on skills now. And so companies are having to take a different approach than, say, 15 years ago and looking for individuals that had the right skill sets for the jobs that are within their companies versus having, a master's degree in X, Y, and Z. Now, it may be a bit different in tech and cybersecurity because there's a lot that goes into knowledge that goes into those specific areas. But one my point was that one of the things that came up in the conference was the severe shortage of just individuals in tech, much less, much more females in tech. So, and all STEM disciplines. And it sounds like you're seeing the same
Oh
right
yeah,
now. Yeah.
it's Exactly. So we got to encourage people at elementary school, middle school, high school. We
Right.
got to get this turned around, in this
Really
country.
quickly.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of us as leaders, we kind of learn from, I hate to say mistakes, but missteps, right? We take those missteps and then we, learn a ton of great lessons from them. And I'm just curious if there were, any areas of opportunity along your founding journey of G2 Ops that you faced, and what did you learn from them to help make you a better leader?
I think, yeah, all of us face that. We make mistakes all the time. So,
I do. I'll admit
yeah.
it.
I think, sometimes you're in a meeting and you're like, I wish I had said that, or could have said that better. So it's like, okay, now I'm not going to, how could I have prepared better? So that doesn't happen again, or I'm not in that situation. So, especially with customers, I don't want to be caught off guard on anything, so I do
Right.
a lot of prep work, even for this, podcast. So I wanted to, understand, looked at your other podcast and everything and all.
To
So
see if I was crazy, Tracy.
I think what I've learned is, be prepared.
Yes,
I mean, you only have so much time though,
that's true.
to prepare, but we all make mistakes. I think my biggest is always, communication. So could I have said that better? Could I have written that better? That's something I continue to work on.
Yeah.
So, and now we have AI to help us a
I
little
know. We
bit.
sure do.
Yeah.
One of my challenges is I love to have my fingers in so many pots, if you will. I go to where the energy goes for me personally, and I have to course correct myself to make sure that I am focused on the task at hand and helping either my staff or the clients at hand and make sure they're getting all that they need before I jump to the next one. But because I know that about myself, I put that into how I manage myself so that I'm not being the detriment to, everyone around me. So, I think we all do things to make sure that we stay performing at a high level. And it sounds like you do as well, right?
Yeah, especially coming from a technology background.
Yes.
I want to get in. I want to help them solve problems.
Yeah.
I couldn't code now, but and sometimes I have to say stop, let them, handle it, and
Right.
I've got to keep pushing on the strategic
It's
side.
on the
So
strategic side as
even though
well.
it's fun,
It is fun.
side.
No, it makes a ton of sense. So, one of the things we love to ask on this show is your impressions on, the research that we've done for our book. And you were so kind enough to share that one of the tactics that we write about that and we teach about that really jumped out and resonates with you is when leaders lead with strategic decision making. And audience, you remember leading with strategic decision making is just what it sounds like. It's about making really strong and great decisions yourself or leading a great decision making process with your team or those you're collaborating with. So I'm just curious, Tracy, why does strategic decision making really stand out for you?
We can do pros and cons and analyze things to death, but I
Right.
think I've always been impressed with leaders that can make a decision. And you're like, okay, we got to move faster, especially in this economy. And anyway, we've learned just make a decision. And if it turns out not so well, we'll learn from it. But how I've learned to trust my gut, through all these years. And I really want the audience to know that, we were given this brain from God, which is a very sophisticated neural network. Okay. More than no AI can replicate it. They try. And it's sending a signal to your gut, and saying, and get that signal from experiences or pain you've gone through. But I think learning to make the right strategic decisions for our company has been very rewarding too, especially when it works out. Oh, we took the right path. It's funny, something I was trying to rush on recently, and I was like, no, I got to wait on that decision. And then all of a sudden, it became clear, what the right decision was. 'Cause my gut was saying, wait on something. So strategic decisions, are going to point you in the right direction.
Yes.
So taking time and learning, and I call a lot of people. I get input. Great. We have great attorneys, accountants. Depends on what it is.
Right, right.
Other, spent time meeting other CEOs, other leaders. How would you handle this situation and that sort of thing. Getting input. So and coming up with that little group to talk to. So, but your company's like just make a decision, and you have to.
You have to. You're absolutely right. But if you're kind of pointed in the right way based on the knowledge you gain from your colleagues and mentors or trends in the market or whatever, it really helps those first baby steps you make, or it helps you build your confidence anyway for those
It
first baby
does.
steps. Do you
Mhm.
agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because we do a lot of contracting. We have our own that we bid on. It's very competitive, but we also subcontract a lot.
Mm,
And it's like, team do we want to be on? Of course, we want to be on the winning team, but that
absolutely.
plays a big part, getting to know these people and understanding their strategy. Is it a winning strategy and that sort of thing? So,
So I'm curious, Tracy, because I bet there's not enough hours in the day probably to get everything you want done. What does leading at the top of your game mean to you?
for me, it's coming in and being present for everyone. I like to get to know everyone here, and they've all heard me say this before. Our goal is for them to flourish, all right, and be the best they can be, whether they stay with us. If they go to another company, we want that other company to say, hey, I want some more people from G2 Ops,
Right.
right? Because they're high performers or they're prepared. So my goal is to make sure that the company is running well, the right leadership's in place, everyone's communicated to, like a symphony. I call it conducting, like conducting a symphony.
Right. Love that analogy. Yes.
But you have to inspect, you have to check on people, you have to send meetings, I have a lot of regular meetings. That takes up a lot of time, but that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. As
And
the
I spend
leader.
time checking in with clients and customers. So, and I enjoy that. That's where they'll tell you if anything's off,
That's true.
or the best part is they tell you great things, and then you get to tell everyone this was a quote, right from the customer.
I
So
love
that brings a lot of joy to the team.
I bet it does. I bet it does. So how does Tracy take care of Tracy? So what do you do to decompress or get refocused or take some me time? What do you do?
Well, I love going to the gym. I go every Monday, Wednesday. I go at 6 a.m. Used to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but 25 years straight, I've been going to the same place.
Wow, they're loving you, I'm sure.
You know, and I love it. I like to run and do that. My husband and I like to travel. I like to always have something to look forward to,
Me too.
whether it's
Yes.
5K, whether it's, visiting my daughter, or a trip that we're planning. So
Right.
I've always got to have that. And that motivates me, to really do that. But a lot of family. So just enjoy being around family and friends.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Well, before we let you out of here, Tracy, I'm just curious, do you have any other thoughts or any advice that you would love to share with other aspiring leaders? Any kind of tips that you've learned along the way?
Okay. Yeah, I think, your own house has to be in order to help other people and to lead them. And that's something I've learned. So it's kind of like the US, we're our, economy and budget, and we're in debt, but we want to be a leader and help other countries. So we need to get ourselves straight. So I've learned that. And you have to read, read, read,
Yeah.
especially in technology. But I like reading about leadership, keeping up with tech, and, continuing to push yourself, I think would be the best advice.
Love that. I love that. And can you give just a quick word of encouragement for anyone who's thinking about going into STEM fields or even cybersecurity, that might be one click down too much for
Right.
some, but just in the STEM fields, can you give just a quick note of encouragement for those who are considering that there's some great opportunities in the STEM areas?
Right. I think the biggest thing is it's so many verticals, and that's, you can be in healthcare, you can be in television,
Yeah.
entertainment, you can work for, Department of Defense. All those STEM fields are needed: math, science, technology, engineering. That's what runs this country and made us great.
Yes.
All that know-how. And I think people would be surprised how enjoyable it is. And if you get in an industry and you don't, maybe it's not for you, there's something else. You can switch to another one. You can go work for a global company.
That's right.
It's traveling. So I think it opens up a lot of opportunities, for people. And then every company has to deal with cyber.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is just the variety is there. If you want to move to a different city, or, like I said, switch industries, it's wide open for you.
Wide open. Thank you for that. And in my experience, pretty well paying too. So
Oh, yeah.
you can pay the light bill very well with being in the STEM areas as well. All right. Well, we'll have more information about where to find you in our show notes, but would you mind sharing with everyone how to find G2 Ops?
Okay. So our website is g2-ops.com. And then we're also very active on LinkedIn. So, and as well as myself, just Tracy Gregorio. So you can find us.
Awesome.
LinkedIn's the preferred place.
All right, listeners. Well, no matter if you are in corporate America, you can send a quick note to your IT group and connect them to Tracy and G2 Ops. Or if you own your business, you can still reach out to them as well, and they can help you think through cybersecurity and create a strategic plan and give you steps on how you can get to where you really want to be in order to protect you, your business, and your data, because it's really going to help you increase probably your clients' workload as well, because they'll be very impressed with you having those in place. So thank you so much, Tracy, for the gift of your time today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, listeners, once again for tuning in to another episode. You know that I only ask one thing of you all. That's to like and subscribe to the podcast and to share with just one friend, because once you do, that helps us to expand our reach and to help others to lead at the top of their game. Thanks so much, and see you next week. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today with Tracy Gregorio, CEO of G2 Ops. Links to her bio, her entry into our leadership playbook, and additional resources can be found in the show notes, both on your favorite podcast platform of choice and on the web at leadyourgamepodcast.com. And now for Karen's take on today's topic of cybersecurity. Now, while I'm no cybersecurity expert, I am an expert in strategic consulting and do know a ton about the questions that you should ask when considering any type of vendor or consulting platform. So, the following questions that I'm going to give to you are ones that every employee, professional, or business leader should ask to ensure the technology platforms that they use every day have top-level cybersecurity protection. Now, this first question is one to ask your leadership team or your divisional team. So you should ask yourselves, have we had our IT department or a cybersecurity consultant audit our systems to ensure that our platforms are as secure as possible, both as an independent technology platform themselves and as integrated platforms with the other systems that we use as they communicate with each other? I know that's a mouthful, but that's where you should start, and because that will guide you on the next steps to mitigate any risk. And these next questions that I'm going to share with you are going to be helpful when screening a cybersecurity or technology consultant. Now, you should ask them, one, what is your method for conducting a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment? And how do you tailor your approach to the specific needs and risks of our organization? Also ask them, how does your firm handle cybersecurity incidents? And what is your incident response plan? Also ask, can you provide examples of past incidents that you have helped clients mitigate? Another question could be, how do you ensure that your team stays up to date with the latest cybersecurity threats and technologies because they change a nanosecond? Another question, how familiar are you all with relevant industry regulations and compliance standards? Like for instance, GDPR, HIPAA, ISO 27001. And then also ask them, how do you assist clients in maintaining compliance with these standards? The next question, what kind of reporting can we expect? And how often will we receive updates on our cybersecurity posture? And who will help us mitigate those updates? And then lastly, ask them, do you provide cybersecurity awareness training for employees and staff? And if so, what does that entail? Now, these questions will just jumpstart your thinking, and I'm sure you can come up with many, many others which are specific to your work environment. But think of how you will be able to differentiate yourself as a leader by just getting the conversation started. So thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast episode and being a member of our podcast family. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast and share the podcast with just one friend, because performing this one selfless act will empower you to help others to also lead at the top of their game. Thanks so much for listening, and see you next week. And that's our show for today. Thank you for listening to the Lead at the Top of Your Game podcast, where we help you lead your seat at any employer, business, or industry in which you choose to play. You can check out the show notes, additional episodes, bonus resources, and also submit guest recommendations on our website at leadyourgamepodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn by searching for the name Karen Rhodes, with Karen being spelled Karan. And if you like the show, the greatest gift you can give would be to subscribe and leave a rating on your podcast platform of choice. This podcast has been a production of Shockingly Different Leadership, a global consultancy which helps organizations execute their people, talent development, and organizational effectiveness initiatives on an on-demand project or contract basis. Huge thanks to our production and editing team for a job well done. Goodbye for now.